Lights go up, the crowd's in a buzz. Hawk talk, stop from mighty thud. Voices sharp like a razor blade. Breaking news like a wild cascade. Tune in now, it's time to soar. Hawk talk brings us what you're here for. Bold predictions, call it how we see. We're the voice that sets you free. Host on fire, you can't deny. Hot take sharp with no alibi. Game analysis deep as night. Get ready for an epic ride. Tune in now, it's time to soar. Hawk talk brings us what you're here for. Bold predictions, call it how we see. We're the voice that sets you free. We call the plays before they happen. Feel the rush as the crowd is clapping. Stand tall with your team above. Hawk talk anthem, feel the love. Tune in now, it's time to soar. Hawk talk brings us what you're here for. Bold predictions, call it how we see. We're the voice that sets you free. Tune in now, it's time to soar. Hawk talk brings us what you're here for. Bold predictions, call it how we see. We're the voice that sets you free. We're the free. Set you free. We're the voice that sets you free.
All right. Good Wednesday morning, everyone. I just got home. Just got home. It wasn't a horrible night. Just had a couple of issues, a couple of deliveries, and just a bunch of stuff that don't normally deal with, and made the night go long, but we made it home. We made it home, and, well, let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do. All right, we have got injury news all over the place. We got new starters for this week with a couple teams. And so here's what I want to start with. At this point of the year, the season is basically setting itself up for how it's going to finish. And I am very happy to report that it looks like it's going to finish in a very exciting fashion. The way that these injuries are making everything interesting. And what I mean by that is this. The Green Bay Packers are not a good football team. They're not. They're not a good football team. They're struggling with the basics right now. Defensively, they've got Micah Parsons, but so what? Offensively, Jordan Love is, he's so-so. Jordan Love and Trevor Lawrence are a lot like each other. I believe Trevor Lawrence would look as good as Jordan Love does on certain days if he had what Jordan Love has had with Matt LaFleur. That is not what Lawrence has been gifted with down in Jacksonville. And now he's got this kid GM that made one of the worst trades ever. And that's another part of the injury news is Travis Hunter is now out for the rest of the year. Season-ending surgery. So if the Jaguars are going to make a move, it's going to have to be without Hunter. Also, Jair Alexander, who was just traded for from the Baltimore Ravens, is stepping away from football. Still doesn't feel great. Doesn't have that fire to play right now. So call it whatever you want. He got traded to a team that can compete, and he's still stepping away. So obviously he just doesn't feel like it right now. So Jair Alexander, the Ravens traded him in just enough time to where they got a 6th-round pick out of it, and he's now stepped away from the team. Asante Samuel Jr. is now set to join the Pittsburgh Steelers secondary, who have made a couple of moves here and there. Darius Slay right now is in concussion protocol, another one. Kyle Duggar they traded for from the Patriots. So that secondary right now is banged up. Doesn't look good. It don't look good. And then you've got the Packers making this full circle. Elgin Jenkins, a outstanding guard, is now out for the year with a leg fracture. And that offensive line it's not been dominating to this point this year. So what's going to happen with one of their best interior offensive linemen now out? The Packers have the Giants this week. Jackson Dart is still in concussion protocol. Because of that, Jameis Winston is going to get the start for the Giants over Russell Wilson. He jumped Russell Wilson. Jameis Winston gets the start. This week is really, really weird. I'm going to run down some of these games. Let's go down the schedule for this week. So tomorrow night, you've got the Jets at the Patriots, Thursday Night Football. The Patriots are favored by 12.5. If we've learned anything from Thursday Night Football, don't take the over on points scored. I think we've learned that. Could the Patriots blow that out of the water tomorrow night? Absolutely. Could they also not? Absolutely. Not really sure which way it's going to go. Then you have this really weird game in Madrid, Spain. The Commanders versus the Dolphins. You know why this one is a really weird game? Because the loser actually wins in this game. Neither one of them are going anywhere. Mike McDaniel's going to get fired at the end of the season. The Dolphins aren't going anywhere anytime soon. And the Commanders don't have Jaden Daniels. They're not making a push. They're injured all over the place. The loser of that game actually is more of a winner. Because draft positioning now really, really matters. Draft positioning right now is everything. And I'll be honest with you. Some of these teams needed to do more at the deadline. They needed to refill the coffers a lot more. The Falcons last week, Darnell Mooney was targeted 8 times last week. He had 1 catch. He had 3 legitimate drops, straight in his hands, bona fide. I could catch one of those 3 drops that he had. Because he was standing still. Hate those drops. He was airmailed on 2 of them. But the reality is the Falcons don't have a number 2 receiver. Pitts dropped a pass that went just straight through his hands. Right here, straight through his hands. Drake London is their only reliable target all the time. Him and Bijan out of the backfield. Pitts, I think, is fine. You got to deal with the drops every once in a while, but they need a second receiver. Well, you've got this game this week. The Panthers and the Falcons. What this game is for the Panthers is a chance to knock the Falcons basically out of playoff contention. If the Panthers beat the Falcons, it's done. The Falcons would have to go undefeated the rest of the way for just a shot at making the playoffs. Just a shot. No guarantees. The Panthers could put the Falcons in a really bad situation. The Panthers could get Raheem Morris fired this week. On the flip side, if the Falcons win, they move to 4-6. They've got that easier schedule coming up with the Saints and the Jets as well the next 2 weeks. They can get back to 500 pretty quickly. The good news is the Buccaneers play at Buffalo this week, and then next week have to go across the coast to play the Rams. So if you're the Panthers right now, you really want to beat the Falcons. Because here in 2 weeks, if the Bucs lose both games, you could all of a sudden be sitting atop the NFC South. But the Panthers have at the Falcons, at the 49ers, and then home against the Rams. Those are their next 3 games. Not necessarily the best. I do believe the Panthers will end up with 7 wins potentially. I think they can knock off the Buccaneers once and then potentially beat the Saints when they're on the road. But I think the 5-5, this is one of those teams where I could see the coach getting fired because of how the season ended. They play a lot of tough teams. The Rams, the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Buccaneers, they played twice. I mean, the Panthers aren't ready to compete at that level yet. And what they've achieved is really good. You beat Green Bay and Lambeau. You've got some small wins. The reality is, you're just not ready to compete at that level. The Falcons, however, are supposed to be competing at that level. They haven't done it to this point, And right now, they are hoping Buffalo knocks off Tampa Bay. They're hoping the Rams knock off Tampa Bay, because then the Bucs will be sitting at 6-5, and the Falcons would be at 6-6, and the division would be wide open. And that's exactly what the Falcons are hoping heading into the back end of the year. That's exactly what they're hoping. Another game to watch this week is the Bears at the Vikings. Vegas has the Vikings favored by 3.5. Because it's in Minnesota, I'm going to agree. It may end up being one of my pick 6 for this week just because every other game is such a high spread. So it may end up being in there. I'll tell you right now, I'm going to go Minnesota. Why? Ben Johnson's played Brian Flores, yes. But Brian Flores can bring out the worst in Caleb Williams. And at his worst, he is really bad. He will take 10 sacks. And he won't throw an interception, but he'll take 10 sacks. And the Bears' offense will be stymied all day. Now, do I believe Ben Johnson, the Bears' opening drive, could be a touchdown? Absolutely. But off script, Caleb Williams sucks. I don't care about the Cincinnati game. There was no defense being played in that game. It was, if we hit them, can they fall? That was how the secondary was tackling. If we get a shoulder into them, can we knock them down? The answer is no. This is why you wrap. You tackle. Anyway, so that game has a lot of implications on the NFC because the Bears are sitting at 6-3. The Packers are 5-3-1. If the Bears were to knock off the Vikings and the Packers somehow lose to the Giants, which, no, I'm not counting out the Giants. Kafka is the interim head coach. You got Jameis Winston starting. You know it's going to be a deep passing game. I don't know how the entire thing's going to play out, but the reality is the Packers should win. But can they? That's the question. Can they? Or do the Giants players just literally stick it to Mara and roll over? And be like, no, you fired our coach. He was our coach. And there are some players that really feel that way about Dable. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. This is a huge game for both teams. Joe Burrow, designated to return from IR. Thanksgiving Day against the Baltimore Ravens. He's coming back. Because of that, the Bengals need to stay in the fight if they want to be able to potentially sneak into the playoffs. How do you do that? Go to Pittsburgh, beat the Steelers. After the Steelers just got embarrassed on offense, defense didn't get embarrassed. Their offense got embarrassed. Can Flacco just throw the ball to Chase and Higgins again? Do we have another super high scoring, outrageously questionable game that you don't know how in the world we got to the ending? Absolutely. But that has a lot of implications because the Ravens are sitting there waiting for a mistake. They're sitting there, and the Ravens play the Browns this week. So the Browns always have one in them a year. Could the Browns knock off the Ravens and just absolutely throw a complete wrench in the AFC North? It'd be hilarious. If the Bengals and Browns win on Sunday, the AFC North is absolutely bonkers because then nothing looks right in that division. It would absolutely be awesome. It would be hilarious. It would be hilarious. The Chargers play the Jaguars this week. That game is huge because it has wild card implications. Jaguars beating the Chargers would mean they have the head-to-head against the Chargers. The Chargers have offensive line issues. The Jaguars are good at forcing turnovers. They are home. It's at 1 o'clock. I like this spot for the Jaguars. I don't know about the defense for the Chargers. They came off that big Sunday night win. We'll see how they respond, and we'll see what happens. You have your division matchups, the Seahawks and the Rams. Big, big matchup. And then the Chiefs at the Broncos, huge matchup. You've got the Lions at the Eagles. And I mean, this is for everything. That Lions and Eagles matchup could be for the number one seed in the NFC again. Except for the fact that the Rams and the Seahawks are both 7-2. One of them is going to be 7-3 after Sunday, though, because they play each other. This week is wild in the NFL. And this is what you want. This is around that time. The weather's changing. We just had our first snow here in Indianapolis. Everything was white on Sunday morning. It's going to be freaking 70 degrees by Saturday. What the heck? This is what we want, though. The weather turns and the football gets better. It gets more meaningful. Everybody knows once you get to Thanksgiving, all bets are off. The gloves are off. It's go time. Right now, for a couple of these teams this week, it's go time now. The Ravens can't afford to lose to the Browns. The Bengals really can't afford to lose to the Steelers. The Chiefs, for everything they are that's great, can't afford to lose to the Broncos. That puts them at 5-5. Completely puts them within reach of every other AFC team for the wild card spot. The Lions can't afford to lose to the Eagles. I think they probably will. Maybe. Dan Campbell calling plays really excites me. I think he watched Ben Johnson last year, and I think he understands the feel of the game, and he instills the confidence in his players. He just put up a 44-point performance last week. I really like the idea of Dan Campbell controlling the offense during the game. Trusting the defense to do what the defense needs to do. You stop Saquon Barkley. You force Jalen Hurts to beat you. If Terrion Arnold is out, that's a big blow. It's absolutely a big blow, and we'll see what happens. And we'll see what happens. All right. Let's get to last night. Last night in the NBA. Wow. Okay, so let's get through some of the simple games. Last night. The Knicks beat the Memphis Grizzlies 133-120. The Raptors beat the Nets 119-109. The Oklahoma City Thunder beat the Golden State Warriors 126-102. Steph Curry got his first ever flagrant foul. And on top of that, Draymond Green questions the Warriors' commitment to winning. Really, after a national championship, oh geez. Yeah, it's Draymond Green being Draymond Green. But nonetheless, the Denver Nuggets beat the Sacramento Kings 122-108. And then the embarrassing game of the night. And if you guys aren't basketball fans, just bear with me because I'm embarrassed right now, okay? I'm embarrassed. The Utah Jazz beat the Indiana Pacers 152-128. Yes, you heard me right. 152-128. The Jazz scored 38, 32, 44, and 38 points in the quarter. The Jazz shot 55.5% from the field, 45% from three-point range, and 88% from the line. The Pacers shot 46% from the field, 27% from the three-point line, and 90% from the free throw line. It's embarrassing. It really is. The Indiana Pacers are now 1-10. And just don't even look competitive. Nembhard was back last night. Not a bad night. 25 points, 7 assists. not too bad. He was 9 of 15 from the field. But it just sucks. I mean, it is. It is really, really bad. And the excuse that came out, I can't stand. The excuse that came out was, well, they played so long at the end of last season. That's why they're injured. What? The Oklahoma City Thunder are 11-1. The only thing that would make this more ironic is if the Pacers were 1-11. The Thunder are 11-1, clearly still the best team in basketball, and the Pacers have fallen off a cliff. They're injured, and I don't know what type of commitment these guys made in the offseason. You made it to a Game 7. The city was behind you. You lost your star in Game 7. You fought tough for a quarter, but the better team won the game in the end. The better team at the end of the game was the Thunder. They had all their stars. Pacers didn't have Halliburton. The better team was the Thunder. They won. Stop whining. I really think there was a bunch of complaining, whining, moping. Nothing that's useful to win basketball games went on during the offseason, and the fans are now paying for it. I mean, this is bad. This is really, really bad. And I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. Now, I want to get to one game that was really, really good last night. The Philadelphia 76ers and the Boston Celtics, I really hope end up being the 4 and 5 seeds in the NBA playoffs. Why? Because they have played 3 games, and all 3 games have come down to a last-second shot. All games decided within 2 points. Great games. Absolutely fantastic games. The only game that looked like a real basketball game last night. The Philadelphia 76ers beat the Boston Celtics 102-100. Absolutely thrilling game. Loved watching it. Mike Tirico, Reggie Miller on the call. It was a beautiful thing. It was good basketball. And it was 2 very evenly matched teams. So honestly, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. 100%. All right, let's do hockey, and then let's get out of here. Last night, the Boston Bruins beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 5-3. The LA Kings beat the Montreal Canadiens 5-1. The Dallas Stars knocked off the Ottawa Senators 3-2. The Washington Capitals beat the Carolina Hurricanes 4-1. The Blues knocked off the Flames 3-2. Our first overtime game of the night was the San Jose Sharks over the Minnesota Wild 2-1. The Colorado Avalanche beat the Anaheim Ducks 4-1. The Vancouver Canucks fell short again, losing to the Winnipeg Jets 5-3. And then the Columbus Blue Jackets, in a shootout, beat the Seattle Kraken 2-1. Major League Baseball, Vogt and Murphy both repeat as managers of the year. And congratulations to both of them. Congratulations to both of them. We see a lot of different things going on now. Owners are talking with their main stars. Dombrowski talked with Harper on what's going to happen. You had the Pirates GM came out and said, we're not trading Paul. Then you better do something about it. Better do something with him. The Cardinals may end up trading Nolan Arenado. And the Cubs say there's opportunities to add to the pitching staff. Well, duh. Of course they did. All right. Do I want to go over anything else? I know it's a shorter podcast again. But, oh, yes, college football bracket. So, listen. Yeah, here's my rant for the day. Here is my rant for the day. Yeah, I know. You're thinking, Hawk, you already went on one. You're right, but here we go. I love the college football committee. I really do. It shows the rankings from last week to this week show one very clear thing. They understand football. Strength of schedule is coming into play more. The opponents they lose to matter more. Case in point, Iowa last week ranked 20th, played a grueling, grumpy, slippery, wet, just all-out slugfest game against Oregon. They did a touchdown winning drive. And then Oregon had a field goal winning drive very quickly back the other way. They lost on the last second field goal to the Oregon Ducks. The Iowa Hawkeyes losses are a last second field goal to the Ducks, last second field goal to the Cyclones, and a last 2-minute touchdown against the Hoosiers. That team is really good. I wouldn't want to play them. I do not envy USC this week in good weather playing that defense and that offense that's just going to run the ball down their damn throats. Don't envy them. Oregon only jumped up one spot. Texas Tech, after the win over BYU, only jumped up 2. BYU dropped 5. They went from 8-0 to 8-1. Everybody below them won. Everybody else stayed stagnant. Virginia, Louisville, they both dropped 5, but they both only have 2 losses. Very, very alive in the ACC. Then you have the newcomers this week. Cincinnati out of the Big 12 at 7-2, and South Florida out of the American Conference at 7-2. Which, by the way, don't look now, South Florida would actually be the 12th seed now. So the bracket looks like this. Number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Indiana. Number 3, Texas A&M. And number 4, Alabama. I love the Hoosiers, but I am man and fan enough to admit I think Texas A&M is actually the best team in the country. And I really hope they run the table in the SEC and IU can beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. So we are on opposite sides of the bracket and don't have to play each other till the national championship. Because I would like to get a couple of playoff wins. Just saying. I would really like them. I really would. But so there's your top 4. Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Alabama right now. Georgia is 5. And they would take on South Florida right now. But Georgia plays Texas this week. If Texas loses, they're done. Out of here. Bye. Notre Dame and Oregon would play each other in the 9 versus 8 matchup. That would be a fun matchup. And then Miami would play Texas Tech. That's a huge matchup. I think that's going to be a really good game. And then you have Texas and Ole Miss as of right now. That will change. OU, Oklahoma plays Alabama this week. Texas plays Georgia. If Alabama and Georgia win, Texas and Oklahoma, gone. They're out of the picture. They're done. So there's going to be some more changes as we go along here. I think Notre Dame runs the table the rest of the way. Miami, we'll find out. We'll find out. I don't believe in Miami. Carson Beck has a lot of issues. This is why I hated him at Georgia. And with less talent, he is not half as good. It's just the reality. All right. As usual, I have no clue what the night's going to hold. I thought last night was going good, and then, issues popped up and, whatever. So I appreciate you guys bearing with me. I actually ended up having to take my son to school on top of that, too. And literally walked in the door 5 minutes before I went live. Trying to be live as consistently as I can as work is trying to settle down, and hopefully it will. But it's really all that we can do right now. So I appreciate you guys bearing with me. As always, I deeply appreciate you guys hanging out and watching. I will be back tomorrow. Hopefully only a 23-hour break, but we'll see what happens. As always, Please like and subscribe to the podcast. Share it with a friend. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I'm going to go do a couple different things that I need to get done. And I'm going to bed. I am going to bed. But you guys have a fantastic day. Make it the best day you can. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Until then, for Sports Talk with Hawk, I'm Hawk. And I'm out. Have a great day.